Здравствуйте. Добрый день, коллеги. Меня зовут Георгий Troullias. Я директор планетария обсерватории Гедеона. Я астроном и инженер телекоммуникаций. И я буду делать мою презентацию на английском языке, потому что чуть-чуть говорю по-русски, чуть-чуть по-английски. Хорошо? Профессор Станислав Клименко, спасибо за приглашение на конференцию. И можно, пожалуйста, подарок. Большое спасибо. This is to celebrate the Russian Day and very nice wine. But this is something very rare and very special. Yeah. This is real leather, and this is handmade from a village near Famagusta area. And this guy who actually did this, he was this old traditional guy with the so-called bragas, with the old traditional clothes. Yes. And he was making them handmade, and you can still see that he had marks from the. So this is very rare, and because please keep it as a present. Thank you very much. So, сейчас по-английски. I see my friend that he is shocked because he introduced me speaking in English and then I started in Russian, so I confused him. So, first of all, as a Cypriot, I would like to welcome you all in Cyprus. For some people, not the first time, and it's a great honor for us to have you here and doing such important things in Cyprus. We do astronomy, science outreach to the planetarium, and here we specialize in archaeoastronomy. And this is actually started with our collaboration with the Russians, and since 2010 we have invited Mr. Alexander Prokofiev. He's an astrophysicist, and from that on he influenced me and entered into archaeoastronomy, so I owe part of this to Mr. Alexander Prokofiev. Thank you very much, Alexander, in public. So here we are going to discuss about the cult of St. George and how this is related into astronomy. What is archaeoastronomy? We dig into archaeology and we retrieve the astronomy part of it, okay? So, if we go back in the Egyptian times, the ancient Egyptian times, we can reveal a description of solar eclipses. And this was actually mentioned and proved by Ayman Ibrahim in 2000, in the year 2000. This guy, Alexander knows him personally. He was actually working at the Planetarium of Alexandria, and he made this very important discovery. And actually from there on we started to retrieve more things. Okay? So, what it, in his, this is our first reference, came from Ayman Ibrahim, and this is an actual extract of the pyramid text 600. This is the actual page you can find this that was written on the pyramid, because everything was taken and put in this electronic form. So, what do we describe here? O Atum, the sun, the creator, okay, they call it the creator. You became high in the height, so somewhere up in the sky, okay? You rose up as burned stone. The burned stone is for them the stone of the creation of the world, okay? In the mansion of the Phoenix in Heliopolis, the holy town that was Heliopolis dedicated to the sun, Helios, yes? And Phoenix, what do we have Phoenix? We know Phoenix is when Phoenix dies, he reincarnates himself. So we have here the symbol of rebirth. So this is actually the first description that we know, the most ancient description, parabolic and maybe exact, of the description of the solar eclipse. Okay? And he proved this in this reference here. Now, the burned stone, as I mentioned earlier, burned stone is a stone of the creation. They know that it's there in the sky, but they don't see it all the time. Okay? But in the first dynasties, we had the pharaoh who is the descendant of God's son, Ra, okay? And that's why he will be reborn after his death, like Sphinx, in the description, okay? But in the pharaohs in the later dynasty, around 16th century BC, okay, they started to believe that they were the god. Reincarnated, they were themselves the god. And people, okay, respected them as gods, and that's why they built the pyramids, not pyramids in this shape, expecting the rebirth, okay? Now, our friend, he discovered that this symbol that was introduced first as the horizon, that was a normal common translation at first, okay? So we have this shape and this shape in the middle, the symbol ahead, okay? He managed to prove, these references here, that by translation, it's the exact description of the exact depiction of the solar eclipse. And this was proven, 2000, okay? So, if they read the scripts in a different way, so, replacing horizon in solar eclipse, this made total sense. So, what do we have here? We have the sun already in the sky, and sets in the mountain of Manu, and rises in the mountain of Bahed. So, we have him there, he disappears, and he appears again. He doesn't rise and sets. He's already there, he sets, he disappears, and then he rises, he appears again. So, if it sets, it means it's darkness, yes? And if it rises, it's back to light. So, we know that it's darkness only at the totality of the eclipse, yes? For some time. So, this is an extract of his Ayman Ibrahim, and he's saying that the ancient Egyptians envisaged solar eclipses as a rebirth, Phoenix, remember in the first slide, and the recreation of their king god, the sun. And here we see the legend of the sun's motion through the underworld, because he disappears, he goes away, he comes back. And actually it's a struggle between the god, Ra, with Apo. In Greek, Apophis, which means Apo, underworld, Ophis, which is snake, okay? And it's very identical in the, when we say the sun versus the snake, okay? If we make it more simple. And in this reference here, we have seen that the serpent in the myth may appear in large territories under one ruler only. And why am I saying that? Can you imagine of a solar eclipse? So, in small places where we have small nomads, okay? If you are in a small city, let's say like Larnaca, and you don't have the totality at that place, then you see part of the sun, and everybody looks at it, and it looks the same, yes? But if we have a place like here in Egypt, a long place, under one ruler, everybody with the same culture, the same effects in their everyday life, and we have here the totality part. These people here will see the totality, and these people will see part of it from one side, and this part of it ending from one way, and these people ending from another way. It's like having the total description of the solar eclipse. We have some shade in front of the sun from one side, the totality in the middle, and some off from the other side. So this is combining all this information together, like interferometry we were talking yesterday. So we have the clear picture of the whole duration of the total solar eclipse. That's why it's important to make state here that this happened only in large territories under one ruler, with the same effects in their lifetime. So, and this is, then we have the Mesopotamia here, and then we see that this Egyptian myth, it later developed into a basic Indo-European myth that was in the beginning here, and then with the expansion of the languages, not the tribes, the languages, okay, to all over the world, this was transformed, and we will see why. And we are talking about now 2000 BC, much time later. So, our two Russian friends here, Mr. Ivanov and Mr. Dobrov, they did a very, very strict and very, very detailed research in the Indo-European culture and countries, okay, and language. They were able to learn the language, and what did they realize? What did they come out with? They realized that with this, from this, they got the side result, which was the actual transformation of the previous myth, Ra fighting Apophis, yes, and the basic myth, in the Indo-European myth in that region was the god of thunder fighting dragon, which means a snake, yes? It's still a serpent, something evil with something from the part of God. So this is the basic myth. And this is proven in their work in 1974, and we have the resources here. But how was it then transformed? Look at this. If we talk about Christianity, it is transformed. The god Ra, that was then transformed into the basic Indo-European myth as thunder god, it was then transformed into the representation of the thunder god, any other god, about God in Christianity, angel, or a saint. In our case, St. George. I'll come and give you more explanation later. In folks, because they didn't have the religion, they were talking about strong men or the king. So we still have the one who rules, and we still have the serpent, the evil, yes? The good one and the evil one. So, and the dragon was then transformed into Satan or Chort. So more less. Okay, this was something, it was from my first word I learned in Russian. I know it's not honor, but I learned it. So, okay. And now we come back to card of St. George, and how do we relate it in this, okay? So, this is, although this picture is in the 14th century, it depicts St. George in the beginning, from the beginning, the way they imagine St. George before the card is affected. Okay, the original card comes with St. George with a spear like this. And we don't want to take the apocryphs and say that we take you to a different path, different ways, but we are going to take the canonics of the church, which is pretty widely acceptable, and we say that we know that according to the script, that, listen to this is very important because there's contradiction. According to the script, St. George was born in Cappadocia, okay, now it's Turkey, it used to be. But the identity of St. George as a historical individual is not yet ascertained. And why? We don't have real scripts from the time, from this period of St. George that was supposed to live, and we are not sure, according to the script, there's a fluctuation of the date, approximation of his birth, but they talking about his death 23rd of April 3003 AD. But I'm pointing out that no historical evidence from that time. Everything came after. And how long after? About 2 centuries. The card not exists from approximately around 500 AD. Okay, you see? And the tomb of St. George in Lydda, Palestine, from where his mother is coming, was first mentioned in 530 AD, long time after that. So, from the pilgrim Theodosius. So, these people at this time, they started to really write something about St. George. So, we have a contradiction here. Okay? So, taking this icon is very important to take three very, very important for our card of St. George points. One, 2, and 3. These are extras from this part of this icon. And what do we see here? We see St. George dying with the martyrdom of St. George and his 3 deaths. Because we actually have here depicted that St. George died 3 days before entering paradise, according to the scripts. And we are talking now about the scripts, not the apocryphs, but the canonics of the church. So we have one martyrdom here with the wheel that they killed him, and then he was reborn, reincarnated. He came back to life and he died again. Does this remind you of anything? The previous myth? Reincarnation, phoenix, Ra. So then he was killed with stones and cut into 10 pieces and thrown away. He came back to life, and then last time he died, cutting his head and going to paradise. So we have 3 important things here. He died 3 times, 3 deaths, which means how can somebody live again after death? Reincarnation, yes? That brings us to the myth. And something very important. Only God can give back life, yes? According to the sayings. And here we have a description on this icon, which is canonic still, okay? That he reincarnated an ox and a man. And this is only from one icon. He was transformed as God. So God was transformed into St. George in this case. So they took the myth and they transformed it into their own culture. And we are now talking and repeating about the canonic. If you take the folks, for different regions, you'll find a lot of things and a lot of men that he reincarnated. So we first see St. George versus the dragon, like we had the struggle before of God and the serpent, yes? In the 6th century AD. But we know he died 303. So we are talking about a long time after his death people started to talk about this. And we've seen here that he was depicted in this way in the beginning without the dragon. And here we have a sculpture. Sculpture is a monolith of wood, which is actually lead seal, yes. And we saw it in bas reliefs, the sculptures that they come out from the wall. And then in literature, approximately the 12th century, the God legend, first in 1275, and then in icons in the 13th century. And here we have another God legend, a reproduction around in 1325. But what is important here is not the actual script, but we see here St. George killing the dragon next to a lake, okay? The princess here and the 2 mountains, and we have the castle here, okay? Now, this is very important. Why? In the cult of St. George, we have these characteristics that are related to the previous myths. And let's have a look at them. Posthumous miracle. What can make a miracle after birth, after death? Only Kotra, he was reincarnated, yes? And if you go back to the basic Indo-European myth, okay, only God, which has solar nature, and it was proven in the other scripts, he had solar nature. White horse. If you go to the scripts, to the holy books of the Indo-Europeans, they describe everything with white horse having a solar nature. This is what they believed. Dragon Slayer. We here exactly see the transformation of the god of thunder to St. George. So, in the beginning we had the god, the serpent, and then we have the transformation, god of thunder. And I will explain to you with details later. And here is something very important from the basic Indo-European myth. Princess, lake and tower. And here I spent some time because In the Indo-European myth, in the book Rig Veda, which is most probably the most ancient Bible, yes, in India, we have the god of thunder, Vindra, fighting Vridra, the serpent, okay, the dragon, and when, after this battle from the underworld, he managed to rebirth himself, and after the killing he got all the trophies. He got all the trophies. What was the trophies? Women, water, and the tower. Okay, and sometimes a cake. So, now I'm going to talk about, this is a transformation of thunder god to St. George, because it's exactly the same transformation as we had before, but this time Indra, the god of thunder, finding Vidritra, the serpent, and is represented, transformed into thunder of God, which was also the good part fighting the evil. In this case, thunder god transformed into St. George, represented by St. George. And now, we have another two actual points here, mountains and daytime. Now, let's see. We see here two other depictions. This is 1416, and this is 1508 and 1506. It was constructed. And what do we see here? We still see St. George on the horse, white horse, solar origin, yes? Okay. And it kills the serpent, the dragon, in both cases. And what we have? We still have the princess and the cave. But we also see some other things here that I'm going to come to them later. Okay, so we have the cave, like the case of Indra versus Vridra in Rig Veda, this Bible. Okay, it's amazing how they're related. It's the exact transformation, exact description. And we come into the card of St. George. This is something very new now. Okay, we have here again. This is from the 15th or 16th century icon, okay? And this is from the second quarter of the 15th century. This is from Athens Museum. What do we have? Two mountains. In the middle, we have the circle, yes? And we have the same here. Two mountains, and in the middle, the transformation of the myth. But what do if we go to the first slide, we have the two mountains, and in the middle we have the circle again. Yes? It's really obvious, it's very clear. I'm not going to talk about this, I will let you to think about it. Okay? So, we have the two mountains. So we have Ra transformed now in another way. We are related directly to the first myth, the Egyptian myth. Not only to the basic into European myth, but again directly in these pictures to the Egyptian myth. So, I told you earlier that I'm going to come to the trees. What is the word tree now? Now, here it's a very it's very important to realize that with the development of languages, as I explained earlier in the basic Indo-European myth, the word stone, because we have the Bembe stone, remember? When you pronounce the word oak, has two meanings, the tree and stone. So I think that there are some words also in every language that you say one word and you have two meanings, yes? Have something like this similar in Russian language?
Kasa.
So?
Kasa.
Okay. Which means cashier.
Kasa. Kasa. For woman and...
okay. Okay, we have in Greek, yes, but okay. So this word oak could mean either the tree or stone. So they enter this into the myth, okay, and they use Bembe stone, which are identical to oak. In the pre-Indo-European language, oak was identically heard as stone, and they transformed the Bembe stone into oak. And that's why in some of the icons, and some other depictions of St. George, we see the word tree, and we have this in the Slav region as well, and in the European region. So, but we have this, you see, we have the tree here, we have the tree here, and we have the tree here, the oak tree. The word tree, okay? So, another similarity. So we come here and we mention here that the mountains are also with solar nature because of a head here, because description of the solar eclipse. So, and what is left? Daytime, because we know solar eclipses, of course they happen in daytime. And in the beginning we say high in the height, yes? So somewhere in the sky, they were seeing it, it was already there, it set, disappeared, and then it rose again. So, exactly the description of the total solar eclipse. And let's see, we have managed to find something which proves that. How can you describe darkness on a picture? With stars? You want to say that it was night for some reason? But could you in the night see any rainbows? No. So we have day with a rainbow, and for some time between the two mountains we have St. George killing the dragon, and we have night for some time. Which means when? But exactly the time of the total solar eclipse. It was exactly the path, the totality. And here, this is from the 21st century, and actually I had this at home. This is from St. George of Arc, the Rising near Gidi. It's a fresco, wall painting, yes, 1747, France. And here, icon of St. George, 21st century. Still we see stars. Okay? So, for sure, it's daytime, and we have darkness in daytime. So when? Only to the solar eclipse. For some time, correct? So, if until now we went and took only part of the canonic church, because it was the most accepted, widely accepted, yes? But if we go to the Apocrypha, we find more. But if we go again to the folk beliefs, and we go to Georgia, which is a country that its name is dedicated to St. George, yes? So I think we thought it was the best example to give. According to the folk beliefs there, especially in Western Georgia, George, listen to it now, because in no church it doesn't say St. George, because we are talking about a person now who was representing somebody powerful, yes? We remember the transformation in the beginning? In the church we got angel saint and then somebody strong man in the falls I mentioned, yes. So here in Georgia we are talking about George, who during the storm, this is an actual script in the falls. It's an extract, and this is a reference here. Okay? So during the storm, yes please. Okay. So, during the storm, rises on a white horse across the sky. Solar origin, yes. And with his bifurcated arrow, he kills the evil spirit. Again, we have the good and the evil. And comes from the sky and kills the serpent. Yes? It's exactly the same description, but this time, not in the canonic church, but in the false. And more extreme. And what is this? We have the thunder god, Indo-European, yes, based Indo-European myth, fighting the serpent. We have this here now in the Georgian folk beliefs, exactly the same. The thunder god. He's coming from this. He's coming on the force, solar origin, from the sky, like thunder. So we have again here the transformation of thunder god into St. George. And if we go to the Hyasur mythology, okay, George descends into the country Kutch, again the underworld. So he disappears, like in the eclipse. The sun disappears and then he appears. So he goes there to release the Georgian goddess of fertility, Samdzimari, remember the princess? And also steals an outbid, which was something very important because of the culture, because it was important for them to wear there. It was a treasure, yes? A gold I bought it here, bought 9-string panduri, which is a musical instrument, yes, harmony, and the golden sieve and cattle. This was the treasures for them, because if you had cattle, you could have food to live, yes? It was very proprietary position. It's like having treasures. He collected the treasures, but where do we see the treasures? I mentioned earlier, in the yes, thank you. In the Indo-European myth, Indra fighting Vintra. When he killed the serpent in the underworld, he took the women, the treasures of those times, yes, in the culture, the water, and he released from the cave. So we have here also transformation of God of Sun directly to Saint George. Okay? And we come here as a resume. We have Amen Ibrahim, solar eclipses, description with the extra from the pyramids, text 600, if you remember first. And then we have the struggle between Ra, the actual god, against Apophis, separate from the underworld. And here we have our Russian friends Ivanov and Toborov, 1974, describing God of Sun fighting against dragon, Indo-European basic myth that was then transformed into thunder god against the dragon, and we have managed to prove here that Saint George, thunder god, was transformed to Saint George fighting the dragon, and we find the depiction later on in centuries. We still have the contradiction between times. So the myth was transformed and survived in the ages. But what is very important, 2,500 years earlier, we have a direct relation from Ra versus Apophis to the transformation of Saint George versus the dragon, and we also managed here to prove that this transformation was made here, God of Sun to the dragon. And our conclusion is, since we managed to prove this, it is proved that the cult of St. George is a transformation directly from the Egyptian myth, the struggle of the god of Ra versus Apophis, and also that is also related from the other way. The cult of St. George represents the transformation of the basic Indo-European myth, thunder of God versus dragon, with this from the folks, from the canonic church, from all ways. And the cult of George reflects the description of the total solar eclipses in culture, because we saw it in sculpture, in literature, and iconography from the 6th to 7th century until now. And it is also proved that the basic Indo-European myth, it is already a transformation of an earlier existing myth, God of Sun versus Snake Dragon. This part here that was a missing chain before. So this is the result, and it could be sound a bit shocking and a bit bad. In the beginning, when I started to deal with this, it was something looking into fairy tales. And then when I took, when I read Abraham, I said, if it's a scientific article and it's proved, then it's right. Then I followed last year's Alexander scientific paper that was presented in this conference, and he actually, and also our other proof, Alexander's work in cooperation with again Russian scientific cooperation with Gideon Planetarium. It was actually yesterday in the cooperation between Cyprus and Russia about this development of transformation of this myth. It was accepted and it was very well popularized in the United States. In the Aerospace and Astrophysics Journal, you can find the link. It's link number, our number 4 and number 5 references here. You can go online, we can send you by email. So it's really, really interesting. So our acknowledgements. Very, very, very special thanks to our friend Andrei Klimenko, who met us with this special gentleman here, Professor Stanislav Klimenko. It's we are very proud and very honored to be here. And thank you for giving us the honor to be to give this lecture to you about St. George, yes, in this victory day in Russia, and we all have the ribbons somewhere. Yes? So thank you very much. These are our references, and if I may, since you are here in Cyprus, I would like to invite you to the planetarium. We have some Russian events. We planned them especially for you Wednesday and Saturdays, because we know you finish early, you want to relax and have some fun with us. We will enjoy having you there on Wednesday, 9 o'clock. We can do Nabludenia Dni. Yes, correct? Okay, I'll put subtitles. Okay, and Alexander will talk about the subject, and you can visit our website anytime. And thank you very, very much for listening. It's our honor to be here. Thank you very much.
Вопросы?
Yes, please.
You claim in your blog that you prove this transformation.
Yes.
But I'm a mathematician. For me, it seems like your proof is qualitative. I'm wondering whether you have some quantitative evidence of such transformation, like some percentage of the icons correlated with this.
Yes, there are a lot of these, and they are all of them are printed, and especially in the folks, it's almost everywhere, Just in the later centuries, you see that it depended according to the painter. How so they use some imagination, and sometimes you see the cave, and sometimes you see the castle. Okay, but it's still representing the two mountains. So it's everywhere the same thing, and this is the point. But in all of them, they come. But this comes after the 13th century. As I talked earlier, it used to be depicted only the saint along with the spear. But then after the transformation of the myth, and after the spread of the Indo-European myth, when we had this and it was spread, let me go back to show you, the language spread and the myth spread, then we have everywhere the same icon.
So 100%?
At least 90-95%. Yes.
Less, but much.
It could be, I mean, it's minority. It could be 80-85%. It's not exactly calculated, but in almost every picture we have only a few, very few that is depicted like this. Thank you very much.
Поскольку я
Александр,
что я отвечу пару слов. По-русски нормально? Речь идет не о процентах в данном случае, а о том, что есть какие-то базы, например, всегда, в русской традиции всегда его изображают без принцессы. Это уже устоялось. Но все равно две горы всегда есть. И всегда есть кейв, как по-русски-то будет, пещера, из которой этот зверь выползает, сатаническое существо. Вот, то есть получается вот этот вот стандарт, он всегда повторен. И в чем состоит открытие именно здесь, в том, что вот это никогда не было видно, мы увидели здесь иероглиф Ахет в явном виде. То есть две горы и солярный герой между ними. То есть вот это вот повторение, прямое повторение, все, что мы изучали до недавнего времени, были только тексты. Тексты не имеют картинок. А здесь мы увидели вот эти вот два удивительных момента. Момент первый, мы увидели в прямом виде иероглиф Ахет повторенный, две горы, между ними солярный герой.
Прерываний не было, то есть...
Нет, это не прерывание, это внезапно появилось. Потому что иероглиф Ахет, это, грубо говоря, рассвет Египта, это до 1000 года до нашей эры. А две горы с солярным героем, это появилось в культе Святого Георгия, это 1000 год нашей эры. То есть между ними сколько там, 1500 лет, да? 2000 лет. То есть 2000 лет ничего этого нет, и вдруг оно выплывает. Вот это загадка, это то, чем мы хотим заниматься. И второй момент здесь, последний в данном случае, это вот это открытие как раз вот возле деревни Кити, черное небо со звездным фоном в момент затмения.